Welcome to EasySpeak at easy-speak.org. This is what CPA Toastmasters use for their meetings, for registering for roles and signing up for speeches. And it's got some tracking of progress against the pathways as well for some club management. So that's what I'll briefly go through here in this talk. I have enlarged it on the screen, so you'll see a bit more on your screen when you're doing it here. It's just best for the video. And I'll start off at easy-speak.org. Click enter to show that it goes to this page. And on the left here, you'll have an emailed username and password. This I've got stored in my password manager because it's not my first time, but if you've forgotten your password, you can just click I forgot my password and it should send you a new one. This was all working fine until I come onto share screen, so just waiting for the computer to catch up with the streaming. Come on, computer. And as we wait for this, it's good for scheduling your speeches in advance. For the different roles. Here we are, Jason_T. Should have just come up automatically, but Norton's not been that friendly lately. All right, and we go in. So the navigation in here is a bit varied depending on what the access is that you're after. I've got a bit of personal details here in my profile, but if you start off with a profile when you're setting up, you can click just on profile from the top menu. I always like having a picture on everything I've got. I do have my username, which I get to set up to make the login a bit easier, and my email address. And if I move across, you can just add in a few details about yourself. I don't as much, but perhaps the club might be updating your mobile as well. I don't want to be notified of replies, so I tick no here so I don't get a message every time someone sends me a message through the communication tool. Not that anyone ever has. And I've got my LinkedIn and website there. Images is the main place I wanted to put something, just so it looks nice when you come in and people can see who you are if they're looking in the club. Like, it's nice putting a face to a name. Not watching anyone else. And in Toastmasters, it has got a list of my previous speeches, which is quite useful in this personal section. So I can go back and see how many speeches a year I have been doing. Not really that many. I'm going to try and do a lot more this year. And so you can see a few dates around that as well. So it's got out my past history as well, which is more nicely tracked than it probably is when you're working through Basecamp on the Toastmasters website. This is a bit more club tracking of those speeches. So it's got that I'm secretary as a club executive. Anyway, I'll go through that. So that's just a profile setup. After that, I'll go into the meetings. So along the top again, there is a meetings tab, and I could look at a calendar for our club's meetings, but the next one coming up here is meeting list as well. It actually says the date of the next meeting in one of the drop downs. So I'm going to click on the 20th of February and navigate from there. This is where the best thing here is to show that you're attending, so you can come up on the agenda. And so I'll show you soon, but I've already ticked yes that I'm attending, and it comes up as a tick so that they know. If you don't attend, after the meeting, the Vice President of Education will go through and edit who did actually attend, but it's just polite to let them know, and it makes it easier for organizing if you're setting up that you're going to attend or not attend. I'm not going to put myself down for a speaker because we only get 3 speakers in the session. I can request to do a speech, but I can see the roles are already filled for our next meeting, which is great. We'll have 3 speeches and evaluations, and it will be a fun one. A week before our meeting, we get the rest of the roles for the meeting coming up, and we can go and choose. There'll be a tick option where I can go and select what roles I want to do. I did rush this video more than a week ahead of our next meeting, so they haven't seen those come up, but it's pretty clear when you see them. You can find a role and tick it, whereas the role demonstration is in my other video that's here on YouTube about selecting a path, and it's got descriptions of how to read what the roles are and how to perform them if you've never done them before, or if you just want to do it a bit differently and get some understanding behind it. I've been put down as grammarian. That was actually suggested for me, which I find quite interesting. I've no objections to doing grammarian in the next meeting, so I will make it easier for them to organize by ticking this. And so now that will show that I've accepted to do grammarian. These speeches with a question mark just need to be ticked off, I believe, by either the person doing the speech or the club organization. As you can see it doesn't say here at the top. I don't have the edit access, so this is just a normal user access as a non-club officer. So we've got navigation from the previous to the next meeting as well. I could look in the calendar, but if I go back to the previous meeting, it shows a bit more, actually, so it will show more of the roles which were done. I'm not sure if this has been finalized exactly from our club officers, but you can see that there's more roles which a week before the meeting will come up. We've got the speakers, and then there's 2 evaluators for those. Table topics master and evaluator. We had a grammarian, round robin master, toastmaster, timer, and we did have an R counter. So once this gets finalized by the VP of Education, then that one will get added in as well. She's been overseas. In saying that, when we're preparing in advance, I can also measure the members who are attending and any guests, so that will have some updating as well. We had so many guests last meeting, which was really great, and it creates a different atmosphere every time when you've got different people in the audience listening and giving feedback in their own responses as well. Our VP of Education uses this to print off the agenda before each meeting as well. So by having the roles filled out in advance, they don't need to go through, manually assign all of these, put people in, or have blank spots on the day to fill out, and not be as clear when they're handing out the agenda on who's doing what throughout the night. So it is really important for the way the agenda is being set, that people come in and say, yes, I want to do this role. It can always be changed on the night if someone can't attend or does attend unexpectedly. So there are ways to change it around, but it's nice having them filled out in advance, and it's respectful for the club because it's less work for them to do. So this one will come up. It's got that it was the 6th of February meeting. We started at 6:15, although in the meeting it's saying we're having 15 minutes of fellowship, which was just setting up and speaking to guests, letting them know what it's about, saying hi to people. It's not actually part of the meeting, but we want people to show up early so that we can start on time, which we try to start on time anyway, because it's part of following the agenda and meeting the time management. We set a theme in advance, so we always set a theme at the end of the previous meeting. And I remember when this was 217. It's a lot of meetings. And we've got the date of the next meeting, which is the 20th down there as well. So the time durations of each section, it's all coming out here in our club agenda. But it does look a little messy once we've got these question marks from not being confirmed. I requested my speech. I should have actually seen whether I confirmed that one. But it even brings in the purpose of doing each of these speeches, so it can be quite useful. So those are the roles that can come up, you can request. Now I wanted to do a speech, and this is the best way for planning so that the speech spots aren't filled And it gives you a bit of a target date as well. It can always be changed around, but I encourage people to try and meet the date unless you really can't attend the meeting. Even if you're unprepared, it's good practice to be unprepared sometimes. That way you're not as nervous the next time it happens. So here we go. I will attend the 6th of March. 6th of March, yeah. The 6th of March meeting. It's coming up saying that yes, I'm attending. I'm not sure if these are requested or signed in. I think that they're actually officially signed speaker roles, and there's an unassigned one here. I'll decide if I want to do Toastmaster later. I'm not going to decide that one right now, but what I do want to do is request a speech. So this doesn't mean I'm doing the speech on the night. There might be many people who've requested a speech, so it doesn't necessarily mean I'm in the 3 speakers, but I can get assigned into a meeting, and to be honest with our club, we'll probably fit the speakers. We usually have 2 speakers or 3 who are wanting to do it, so we can often fit people in the time that they want to. So for the title, I didn't think this one through. Okay, so this is my level 5, the second one. I've got a few things to do in advance, but I've got almost a month to complete those. Very close to it. I've given the first speech on this level. What shall I call it? So my speech is going to be in my workplace and some goals which we've achieved in setting up some data analytics for reporting. I think my first one was called Buy, and it was very full on dramatic, getting people to buy the business idea. So let's go with successful project payment margin analysis. That sounds too wordy. I like having fun names. Bringing in the money. Why not? The speech introduction. I'll go to my base camp, and I should have brought that one up, so this won't take too long, because I want to show them what the purpose of the speech is, and that way it will come up on the agenda as well. Otherwise, not sure how it gets there. I'm assuming someone's putting it there. Norton's not having a good day. Come on, there we go. All right, so I'm coming into Basecamp here. The other video is outlining some of the aspects of the first time of using Basecamp and some of the tools. In here, oh, it's gone straight to my home. I'm going to go to Basecamp. Strategic relationships. All right, so I've got 2 projects here. I think this one was my elective. Let's just see what it was called. It wasn't the charity one. That one I haven't completed yet. Let's send me back here. Okay, so strategic relationships in number 5. So there's high performance leadership was the one I was doing. So the volunteer organization I still need to do. And I've done the first one on this. I'm just looking for the materials. with everything loading a bit more slowly while the screen's being shared. This is a laptop and not a MacBook or something with higher visual processing power. It's really not liking it. Okay, so while this is loading, I'm requesting my speech in this other tab. What else is here? So I'm still bringing in the speech introduction. In here, there's a workbook speech tab. So this is where I can choose what I'm doing. So I wouldn't start a new workbook because it means a different path, and it will make it very difficult if I'm not selecting the right path. But if you haven't got your path down here, you can go up there and choose presentation mastery or whatever path it is you're doing, dynamic leadership. There's some older versions and some current versions. I'm doing strategic relationships in this one. And it's got the status of my completed projects, which is good. There's a number of electives in here which I didn't do, that's showing up on the list that I could optionally do but don't need to do as part of the path. And I've done the first of the high performance leadership one here. So this is going to be my second about high performance leadership. Let's bring that up on the screen. And so that one's now ticked off. I've already selected the preferred dates, which is that 6th of March one, by going through the meeting. I can put in preferences. So I'm actually not able to do this one. So my second preference would be the one after, and third could be the one after. But with our club, I'll probably get the one that I'm after. And I'll just go back to the speech title to fill out that goal section, which can be left blank, but it's nice having it in the agenda. So back on the evaluation resource, once you get to the end, because you've gone through this project, this has loaded up. This is loaded up again because they did a refresh to Basecamp after I've clicked into this. So my evaluation resource, this is the first speech, and where's the second one? Okay, so I'm going to bring in the purpose of the speech. Does that copy? And copy that. And I'll bring that across to this one, so the purpose of the project, the purpose of this second speech, and then that one can come into the agenda, or it could just be a note for the evaluator who's introducing the speech. So rather than have to give them everything on the night, if you're not as prepared, at least this is already there in advance. But it's not really a necessity. You could just give it to them in the evaluation form and say what the purpose of your project is. Let's see, I might even put in the while I'm here. I might even just put in about I could put in the whole section. Let's see where it comes up. And I'll go and I'll save. So I'll be notified once the speech has been accepted. And do I come up here? Oh, it's sent me to a different page. Okay, so I'm outside of the meeting now. So I've got this one coming up. I've got the different preferences of when I've requested the speech, and I'll go back to the 6th of March meeting. I've actually got more speeches I want to request in advance, but I won't do those while on the call. So you see that on the 6th of March I haven't come up here yet. That means that these ones have been accepted to deliver their speech, which is why they've been assigned a role. So requesting the speech doesn't automatically give you the speech on that night, which is why there was a few different options there. So I've requested that speech, and it's very important to request those speeches, just because if you want to speak on a night, then you're able to. By being prepared, it gives you that opportunity as well, rather than just saying this night's full. Even though you wanted to do the speech this night, it'll need to be a different night. By requesting it in advance, it really gives you priority to do the speeches when you want to do them. And that's how simple the meeting is. So the request speeches can be done at any time, but just before the meeting, have a look at the roles, which will come up in our club a week before the meeting. Others might come up sooner than that, but a week before the meeting, the rest of the roles will come up, and we can tick if we want to be a round robin master or other roles in advance, and then it will come up on the agenda and make everything nice and easy for the organizer. The other parts I like in EasySpeak are the statistics. Maybe it's a working in finance thing, but I like data. So this is the meeting section. It's all related to these pages, which you've just looked at. There is a lot of similarity in my participation. You can use discussion forums and send messages to different people. We don't really use that. And have more generic Toastmastering ones. So searching for users or clubs. Again, I prefer probably do that in different ways on the toastmaster.org website. And not everyone uses EasySpeak, so it's not a capture all thing by using this menu, but feel free to have a look around. This club. So I usually go straight down to the charts. And the two most interesting things here that I find are the goals chart, which we don't currently use, but it's a great tool. So if you have a look at the goals chart, you can hold a session with all of the members and say, what are you trying to achieve? How's it going? When do you want to achieve it by? And then plan a number of speeches in a period of time, well, in this period of time against the actual. So how many speeches per week do you need to do? And create some actions on the back of it. This is me. So this is an individual plan. You can get people to do these. I've never actually clicked in here. I thought this was on someone else. So I want to create a I think this is more to do with being on the committee, the leadership goals and the communicator goals. So I'm going to click on the public speaking one as if I'm not on the committee. And I might need to look up what some of these things mean. I want to complete 5 speeches. I'll just put it by the end of the year because I haven't actually planned out this and I might end up going to edit this. I've already done a couple this year as well. So complete 5 speeches. Which is 9.3 a week. Or is that a percent? Anyway. I think this could be used as a fun section for planning yourself. The actual speeches will come up. So because I just assigned this one, I don't think it's tracking the speeches I've already done so far. So have a look at the communication progress here. This in there. Have actually done some speeches. Let's see, this one was the last meeting. I'm curious. I might leave that up and see how it goes. But the goals section I find very interesting in club charts, and it could be something that you want to have a look at and take advantage of or speak to your club officers about. The other thing I like looking at is the pathways chart, just because I'm curious of how everyone's going. And this one is probably more useful for club officers to see how they get tracking against the goals achievement for people finishing their pathways. For example, this first person, Ayushi, maybe she's completed all of the speeches in her first pathway, but we haven't had the achievement of the pathway goal yet. So we might be I don't know if this is true, but we might be very confused. We go, oh, we could actually just get a club goal because she's completed all of her speeches, but she just needs to tick path completion in Toastmasters.org, and all of a sudden we get that goal achievement, or one completion against the goal achievement on Toastmasters.org in the district performance charts. So there can be a reconciliation against who's completed paths here and how many are flowing through to the performance tracking on Toastmasters.org. Because I've got this open. I can just have a quick show of that. So I could just go to my home here, and it will come up in Club Central. That's all districts. Okay, let's have a look at our club. So as a club officer, I get to look in here, and so this is one of the useful sections for how the club is performing and being tracked. And in the Distinguished Performance Report for our club, this is what we're trying to do as a club. For anyone watching who's not a club officer, we get measured as a club for our performance, and we actually need a few of these to update, but I go, oh look, there's no level ones. I think Ayushi completed it the previous year, but if she completed it in this year, we go, well, there's also other ways to look specifically at individuals in here, which I won't go into right now, but we can see that we're expecting to have a level 1 award, but we don't have it. So we might want to go in and have a look and see whether it just needs to be ticked off, and then it will flow through. We're also looking at January here. February hasn't come up yet. So the dates do take some time on the lag before things show up, because we will have finished off level 2. I'm hoping to have finished level 5, which will fall into here. If we get some new members, we just had 3 join, so we could tick off these goals. And so we've got a minimum growth member, or to have 20 for the club, just to be considered to be a stable club and not close to folding. And then once we've ticked off some goals, we get recognized as being a particular type of performing club. So just 5 goals in this 3 growth will get us to be a distinguished club for the year. And so with those extra 3 members, when they come up, we're on 16. So it's very close. I think that one would definitely tick off this one. We'll get our training goal. So we'll have these 4. And I know that someone's just one more speech away from level 2. So that will be our 5th goal and we'll be distinguished. We've got a couple of level 1s quite close, and even more level 2s, and actually even 3s. So if I can get my level 5 complete, we could be doing some very high numbers by the end of June, which is very interesting. So the main thing is getting the goals number, but this is where we can check that I did get sidetracked a little bit. This is where we can check as a reconciliation, and we can go into individuals as well in different parts of here to say, well, this tracking is interesting because this is coming straight out of the meetings when we update each time and is updated by the club officers, whereas the individuals, the members of the club, are updating their Toastmasters.org Basecamp, and maybe they haven't requested a level completion yet. Otherwise, we could go, okay, we want to complete that level 2 because then we get that goal. Look, ping, she's only one speech away from completing level 2. Some of this might require knowledge because as you go further into the levels, there's electives. So after level 2, there's electives, so it looks like there's a lot of speeches. But there's only, assuming that they do the compulsory 1 and 2 electives, they should only need to do 3 speeches on this level and 2 on this level. Level 5 might vary. Some of them will have 2 speeches in a project, so it depends what they're doing. But it's a little clearer on how close people are to completing their path as well. So it's going, all right, well, we've got a goal achievement if there's one more level 2 complete, and Sanjay's got his level 2 scheduled for right now, and Ping's got her level 2 just 1 speech away. Even me, this one was completed on my level 2, but because I haven't completed level 1 yet, I can't get this path recognized. So we're literally Ping's speech and Sanjay's speech away from having this one complete and this one complete, because it'll be me, Ping, Sanjay. I think Pam's already completed it, so I'll have both of these goals. So for club performance, it's very useful being able to look through here as well, which I quite like. We do have some people on some older pathways, so that's why Alan comes up looking a bit differently, because he's been a member of the club so long that it was done a little differently earlier before this came up in this format on EasySpeak. So it depends on how this is tracked by the club officers as well, but I find this really interesting, especially as a club official, to track it against performance, and it's also for keeping people working towards their goals. Perhaps you're doing a buddy program or you're mentoring other people in the club. It's another way of monitoring other people's progresses and seeing how they're going. Even if you hover over one of these ticks, it says when they were delivered. So it's got dates on these speeches as well, 19th of May 22, and the title of it. I'm sure I could even click into it. So there's a bit on here for members, and there's a bit on here for officials as well. That's quite useful. As long as it is being updated and used properly, it can support the agenda for the meeting. It can organize people choosing roles, scheduling their speeches, tracking the progress in their pathways, and could be used as all-around general club management that's quite useful, rather than Toastmasters.organization, which is more for the learning materials and getting tracked by the international organization and the goals achievement. So as aligning between the two is quite useful, but I've done a bit of talking for now. So I'd like to thank everyone for listening. I will separate this into different times so that you can skip through this video. But if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below the video. I do appreciate interactions on the video. It helps get feedback on what people like and don't like, and also makes the video a bit more visible in YouTube when they see that there's analytics there. So feel free to like and subscribe as well. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are.